What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about accepting a long-term care insurance. What is long-term care insurance? How could this be an additional revenue stream for you in your adult day center? But first, you got to like, comment, subscribe, and if you do, you might be lucky enough to get one of these limited edition active age sunglasses. I'm sure they have polarized lenses. Actually, they probably don't because they're they're the promo items, so they may not be polarized, but they're badass. I mean, look at that. They got the active age color. Like, that does not, you can't find that color very often. So anyways, if you want your very own sunglasses, like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into this video. My name is Chris Chandler, the founder and CEO of Active Age Daytime Senior Care. Thank you for being with us today. So for those that may not know, are you currently accepting long-term care insurance? And if you're not, have you ever thought about this, or have you ever, explored this idea before? Do you even know what it is? See, a lot of times people may not understand it, or it may be a little confusing, or maybe a little intimidating, so they don't move forward with it and they're not familiar with it. But it could be another revenue stream for you. See, 7% of the US population that's over the age of 65 has long-term care insurance. So, this could be maybe not this is not going to necessarily fill your center. I don't want to get your hopes up. I don't think everyone walking through the door is going to suddenly have long-term care insurance, but this could be a great way for you to increase revenue, and maybe 7 to 15% of your members that do attend may be able to utilize their long-term care insurance to pay for your services. So first, we're going to talk about the different aspects of long-term care insurance, and then really the process for you going about billing them. Number one, though, just so you're educated on long-term care insurance, typically this is a private pay insurance that an individual has purchased earlier in their life. They may have been sold this thing when they were 35, 45 or something like that. And the idea behind it was that if they paid into this thing now, they would have this future benefit that could help pay for long-term care, things like home care, assisted living, adult day care, or maybe even skilled nursing. It could help pay for some of those services. What it paid and for how long it paid really depended on the plan that they chose at that time. So they're all going to be a little bit different, but there's going to be a general framework that's the same. And so, just so you're aware of what it is and stuff like that. One thing to know is that every single policy is, going to have some sort of eligibility as to whether or not that person qualifies to be able to utilize their benefit. Typically, this is at least 2 of the activities of daily living. So if someone needs help with, say, toileting, and going to the restroom, and maybe they need help with eating, or maybe they need help with medications, any of those activities of daily living, some of the policies are written where if they need help with at least 2 of those, then they're eligible to receive benefits. Number 2, the benefit period. How long is this policy going to pay for these services? That benefit period could be a length of time, or it could be a dollar amount. So for instance, maybe the benefit period is 2 years, and after 2 years, you're no longer able to bill for those services, or it won't pay for those services, I should say. Or maybe the benefit period is a dollar amount, and it'll pay up to $250,000 over 5 years or something like that. Or maybe it's a dollar amount and it's an unlimited amount of time. They'll pay for it forever, but only up to this certain dollar amount. I'm just making you aware of what long-term care insurance is and how it works. Eventually we'll get into how you bill for it. Number 3, the coverage and the benefit amount. So a lot of times it'll say there'll be a benefits page. It'll be kind of like a benefits overview, or almost like the cover page of the actual insurance policy. And on that page, it'll list what services it pays for. And it might say home care will pay $100 a day. Adult daycare will pay $75 a day. Assisted living will pay $150 a day. Skilled nursing will pay $200 a day. It might break down the different reimbursement amounts depending on the service that is needed. It'll also be aware of what is called an elimination period. Typically, the elimination period is the period of time that an individual, it's almost like, think of it as like a deductible. This is the period of time that someone is going to have to utilize the services, paying out of their own pocket for a certain period of time. It could be 30, 60, 90 days. It's going to depend again on the policy, but they're going to pay out of their own pocket, and they have to do that for the elimination period in order to like actually make the benefit go active. So they have to, whatever period of time that elimination period is, they would have to pay out of their own pocket for that period of time. And then once they've completed that, then their benefits will become active and they can start receiving them. And then number 5, disbursements. Something to be aware of is there's typically a direct payment or direct disbursement to the actual policy holder, or there's a disbursement, you as the organization could get an assignment of benefits, which means that the insurance company would pay you directly. However, a lot of times that payment would come in the rears and might be 30 to 60 days behind the services rendered. So, again, this is just to kind of identify the different aspects of a long-term care insurance policy, but now let's talk about the process. So say you have a family member that comes into your adult day center and you're sitting down with them and you're talking and you discover they have long-term care insurance, and you bring up this idea of so you're talking to me like, hey, by any chance, do you guys have any long-term care insurance, or does your mom or your dad, did they ever purchase a policy that might pay for services like assisted living or home care? You're kind of posing this question. They're like, I think they did. That they still pay for something out of pocket every month, and it was supposed to be for something like that. And you're like, oh, good. Well, did you know that long-term care insurance might pay for services like adult daycare? And they're like, oh, really? And you're like, yeah. And you're like, if you don't mind, you could certainly bring the cover page of the policy in, and I'd be happy to look over it for you and see what it covers, maybe help explain how it works. I like doing this because then I can help provide that family member with clarity as to what to do, what services is covered, how it works. The reality of it is you can't call the insurance company on their behalf. They're gonna have to be the ones to call the insurance company. If you call the insurance company and you're like, hey, I met with Mrs. Smith today, she's ready to start services, and here's what she said, they're gonna be like, well, sir, I can't talk to you, because at the end of the day, it's all, it's HIPAA, it's privacy, it's all of those things, right? So the best thing for you to do is to tell the family member, to let them know, hey, yes, our services are most likely covered by that insurance. The best thing for you to do is call the insurance company and ask them, what they need to do to go ahead and begin services, or to begin, using the benefits of their long-term care policy, and that insurance company will explain all of that to them. Number 2, the claims process. So typically what is going to happen is say they move forward with your adult day center and they're going to use long-term care to help pay for it. Again, remember, they're going to go through that elimination period, so they're going to have to pay out of pocket for your services anyways for a certain period of time. But once they've done that, they're gonna have to file a claim for these services, right? So typically what's gonna happen is, as part of that claims process, you're gonna be required as the long-term, or as the provider, to send to the long-term care insurance company certain credentials, such as your license, maybe proof of insurance. There might be other things that you have to send into the insurance company to get credentialed, so that they can actually pay you for those services. So you'll have to go through that initial credentialing process before you can actually begin and start the first claim, right? So once you get credentialed and they get you approved and they talk to the family and everything's good to go, then you'll want to ask the family, or make sure that you ask the representative that you're working with on the credentialing side, what is it that I need to do on a monthly basis or a regular basis to submit to you guys, in order to actually file the claim, or to submit the reporting to get the claim, right? So typically there's actually going to be a report. It might be a standard document that they have you fill out. And in most cases, you're going to have to fill it out on the first of the month for the previous month's activities. So whatever type of care you provided, there might be care logs, there might be care notes that are required. Typically that might have to be filed with the invoices attached, and on the invoices it may need to show an exact breakdown of how much time was spent in your center, what time they clocked in, or what days they came throughout the month. And then you would submit the invoices along with the report to the insurance company. And depending on how you have it worked out, this is the important part, right? So like getting paid, how do you get paid? The number one thing you want to make sure that you are clear on, especially in the very beginning, is you want to get paid via direct payment. You don't want to do an assignment of benefits or be responsible for getting paid by the insurance company directly to yourself. You want to get a direct payment like from the family. Like you want them to receive the actual payments from the insurance company so that you're charging the family in advance for the services rendered, and then the family members are the ones getting reimbursed 30 to 60 days later from the insurance company for those services that were rendered. And you want to do this because, if you were to, accept the assignment of benefits where you worked with the insurance company and then they pay you now instead of the family member, what's going to happen is you're going to always be in the rears 30 to 60 days. So the best thing for you to do is to actually bill the family directly, and then you submit the paid invoices. So these are paid invoices. Now you submit those along with the monthly reporting, submit that to the insurance company. And if you do that in a timely manner, then in most cases, the family members are going to be out maybe 45 to 60 days at the most, getting reimbursed for those services that had been rendered. So, I always encourage people to, be aware of this process, being, knowledgeable enough about it so that when you're working with families, you can guide them, you can be their guide, you can help consult them through this process so that you can ultimately receive those benefits that they paid for. Because look, if you can reduce the financial burden to the family, if you can reduce the financial burden to these individuals, they're going to use your services more often, because that is why they purchased this insurance in the first place. But it's important for you to be the guide and guide them through this process. So that being said, guys, I hope this was helpful. We talked a little bit about what long-term care insurance is, and then really the best process for actually submitting claims and getting paid by long-term care insurance companies. So that being said, guys, if you want to open your very own adult day center, go to adcpro.com. If you'd like to join our monthly webinar, you can go to ADC Pro and submit and sign up for our monthly free webinar. We also have a private Facebook group. And if you'd like to own your very own active age care franchise, go to activeagecare.com/franchise. We'll see you on the next one. Peace. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to learn how to open your own adult daycare center, go to adcpro.com. If you'd like the latest business tips, click here, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. Click here. We'll see you guys next time.